The graduation hall was buzzing with excitement, a sea of smiling faces and proud families. But in one corner, a young black boy named Jamal sat all by himself. His cap sat slightly askew on his head, and his eyes scanned the crowd, searching for a familiar face that wasn't there. He could hear the whispers and see the sideways glances. People saw a boy alone, and they made their assumptions. Some looked with pity, others with a hint of suspicion. He adjusted his gown, the fabric feeling heavy, almost like a blanket of loneliness. His heart ached. He'd worked so hard to get here, countless late nights studying, overcoming obstacles that his classmates couldn't even imagine. But on this day, the day that should have been his triumph, he felt more invisible than ever. He watched as his classmates hugged their parents, received bouquets of flowers, and took endless photos. Each flash of a camera felt like a small jab to his heart. He clutched the program in his hand, his knuckles white. The ceremony was about to begin, and the feeling of isolation was almost suffocating. He took a deep breath, trying to hold back the tears threatening to spill. He promised himself he wouldn't cry. Not here. Not now. He was here to graduate, and he would do it with his head held high, even if no one was there to see it. The procession started. One by one, students began walking across the stage as their names were called. A, B, C. The alphabet seemed to stretch on forever. Abigail Adams, summa cum, loud and thunderous applause. Benjamin Carter, magna cum laude. Roar from the crowd. Wheat Hitchnain. Jamal sank, a little lower in his seat. The families around him were electric, their cheers echoing through the vast hall. He tried to smile for his classmates, to share in their joy, but his own felt a million miles away. He thumbed through the program again, his finger tracing down the long list of names until it found his own Jamal Washington. It was there, in black and white. He was real. He was a graduate. But as the names kept being called, and the seats on the stage filled up, a knot of dread tightened in his stomach. What if they missed him? What if his name was just a typo in the program? The thought was absurd, but in his current state of mind, anxiety was winning. He watched families hold up signs, balloons floating above their heads. He saw a father lift his daughter onto his shoulders, her laughter echoing. It was a beautiful, chaotic symphony of happiness, and he was just a silent observer on the sidelines. He felt like a ghost at his own celebration. The list of names was getting shorter. T, U, V. The announcer's voice droned on. Jamali's palms were sweaty. He could feel his heart hammering against his ribs. There were only a handful of students left. He watched as the last girl before him, a V, walked across the stage, got her diploma, and descended the steps to a chorus of cheers. And then, silence. The announcer paused. The dean shuffled his papers. The crowd quieted, sensing a shift. Jamal's breath hitched. This was it. They'd forgotten him. The silence stretched on, thick and uncomfortable. The whispers started again. He could feel hundreds of eyes turning towards the empty stage, then darting around the room, eventually landing on him, the lone boy in the corner. The pity was back, thicker this time. He wanted the floor to swallow him whole. He started to gather his things, preparing to slip out the back door, to escape the humiliation. He couldn't bear it. After everything, this was how it was going to end. Quietly, forgotten. Just as he was about to stand up, the dean stepped forward to the microphone. His voice boomed through the speakers, cutting through the silence. Ladies and gentlemen, he began, his tone serious. This year, we have one final, very special announcement. The crowd stilled. The dean continued. As you know, our university values perseverance, dedication, and the relentless pursuit of excellence against all odds. Every student here has worked hard, but one student has embodied that spirit in a way we have never seen before. The dean paused, letting his words hang in the air. Jamal was frozen in his seat, his plan to escape forgotten. He didn't understand what was happening. Why was the dean making this speech now? The dean's eyes scanned the audience, and for a heart-stopping moment, they seemed to lock directly onto Jamal's. This student, the dean said, his voice ringing with pride, faced unimaginable personal hardship. He worked 2 jobs to support himself through school, often studying on the night bus between shifts. He volunteered at a local youth center, mentoring kids who, like him, came from difficult backgrounds. He maintained a perfect 4.0 GPA, and his senior thesis on sustainable urban development has already been accepted for publication. In a major academic journal, a murmur rippled through the crowd. Who was this person? He did all of this without family support, the dean continued, his voice softening with emotion. He did it on his own. He asked for no special treatment, no extensions, no exceptions. He simply did the work, day in and day out. He represents the very best of what this institution stands for. The dean took a deep breath, a wide smile spreading across his face. He looked directly at Jamal now, and the entire hall followed his gaze. Suddenly, Jamal wasn't invisible anymore. He was the center of everyone's attention. The pity was gone, replaced by awe and respect. The dean's voice boomed one last time. It is my profound honor to announce not only our final graduate, but this year's recipient of the Presidential Medal of Honor, the highest award our university can bestow. Would you please join me in congratulating Jamal Washington? For a second, there was stunned silence, and then the hall erupted. It wasn't just applause, it was a roar, a standing ovation. Every single person, students, faculty, parents was on their feet, clapping, cheering, shouting his name. The sound was deafening, a wave of recognition and respect that washed over Jamal, cleansing all the loneliness and pain. Tears streamed down Jamal's face. But this time, they weren't tears of sadness. They were tears of shock, of relief, of overwhelming joy. His legs felt weak as he stood up, urged on by the thunderous applause. His professors were beaming at him. The classmates who had ignored him were now looking at him with wide-eyed admiration. As he walked towards the stage, the path felt like a dream. The dean met him at the steps, shaking his hand firmly and pulling him into a warm hug. "We are so proud of you, son," he whispered in his ear. He handed Jamal his diploma and then placed the heavy, ornate presidential medal around his neck. The weight of it was real. It was a tangible symbol of his struggle and his triumph. As he stood on that stage, looking out at the sea of cheering faces, he realized they weren't just celebrating his academic achievements. They were celebrating his journey, his resilience, his spirit. The people who had pitied the boy sitting alone now saw a king on his throne. He wasn't the boy who was forgotten. He was the one they could never forget. The applause went on and on, a beautiful, powerful sound. It was the sound of being seen. And in that moment, Jamal knew he was finally home. Thank you so much for watching. If this story moved you, please hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more inspiring content. See you next time.